You found us, and now you're listening to Heart of a Volunteer Veterans Podcast, where we have conversations with veterans ranging from our service time, development, family, motivation, and best practices for veterans. Welcome, and enjoy the show. All right, everybody. Hey, welcome to another episode here on the old Heart of Volunteer Veterans Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, and this is episode 64. All right, folks. So, hey, during this holiday break, I didn't put out as many episodes as I would have liked to, but I did get a chance to go back and listen to the episodes, trying to massage out some positives, some negatives, always trying to make the show better, knowing that veterans out there, they don't like weak sauce podcasts, so trying to improve it. While I was doing that, some overarching themes really started to show up across the whole podcast, all the episodes. And the biggest one was embracing change, adapting, being resilient. If you're a Marine, Semper Gumby, always flexible. It's something that veterans just do. And if we look back at where it all began, you can look at your peer group, when you were still in high school. You didn't have, people in mass chomping at the bit to join. You had to break away from those folks that were going to take college loans, to go to school when they could have gone to the library, or talked to their squad leader and got all the information they needed. But, you chose to join, made the mental change. That's the first real change you ever made, the boldest change you've made to date. One that is, really hinges on life and death. From there, force change is pretty much on the menu. You get out of basic, out of boot, into your unit. You're constantly being, pressed to change according to the mission, to the environment, whatever, branch of service you went into. You're being forced to change. And as time goes by, you slowly, change into the person that you are today. And veterans always ask, what now? What do I do now when it comes to making change? And I always tell them, do it again. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Whatever special ingredient you had then, throw it in the sauce now, tighten it up, and go and get after it. All right? Now, for anybody that's listened to the podcast, without a doubt, you've listened to a Saga episode. Saga Ep.024 came out in August with Luke Davis. I know, folks. I know. Luke's episode, Saga Ep.024, is number 3 on the top 10 all time for the show. So this almost feels like a continuation of that Saga episode. So without any delay, let's get Luke on the show. Luke, welcome to the show, my friend.
What's going on, my brother?
Hey, man. Just trying to do it, man. Right. How was your Christmas and your New Year's, brother?
I was really good, man. Got to spend a lot of much needed time making up time with the kiddos and just really, taking a little bit of the burden off their mom because she's been doing most of the heavy lifting for the last little bit. So it was great, man. Got to spend some really quality time playing with them, just being there for them, trying to teach them some things, and really what the holidays should be about was probably the first time in a long time. That's what it felt like for me. So it was great.
You guys get snow that stayed on the ground up there?
Not really.
Yeah.
I'm in Ohio and I was expecting it to be crazy, but there's been like 3 days of like really bad snow, but it's still, I'm out there slipping and sliding, trying to drive in it anyway. So it's not too bad.
Yeah. We haven't gotten any snow here in Oklahoma, man.
I hear it's coming. I hear February is supposed to be like record-breaking cold for the whole country.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm not worried about the cold. I don't worry about the cold,
like the
really.
Cold. I love the cold. Yeah.
It doesn't bother me.
I think these guys are talking shit. I'm from Georgia and I'm up here walking around in shorts and a hoodie. They're like, "You're crazy." I'm like, "Man, it's not that bad."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
I don't mind the warm weather in the wintertime. It kind of reminds me of Hawaii, right?
Man, that's what I tell them.
It kind of threw your whole idea of like Christmas and everything. It was kind of completely off.
I remember going from the barracks on Christmas Day, going to the beach, going surfing. We're like, what
Yeah.
the hell? Well, let's just go do something completely opposite since we're, everybody's away from their home. And, but yeah, that's nuts when it's, 80 degrees, 72 degrees on Christmas Day.
Yeah. Yeah. Surfing. That's what you do. Go to the beach, man. Go to the beach.
Yeah, man.
All right. So, hey,
Yep.
Luke, you came on in August, man. It's hard to believe episode 24, Saga episode 24 for you. And we're on 64 now.
That's crazy.
So, man, what's been going on, in your life since then?
It's one of those things that I've never shied away from is embracing the changes that are just kind of coming in, and you really can't do much about them, and you try to make the best of them. And at the time we talked, I had just started a career truck driving, and it wasn't a full on, rest of my life career. I knew that with having kids and I wanted to be there for them, it wasn't going to last very long. So their mother and I planned on me doing it a year, making about $2,000 a week, saving up some money, come in and open up a CrossFit gym here in Ohio. That was the plan.
Mm-hmm.
But the kids weren't really adapting well to dad being gone that much. And their mom was really trying to hold it together. And she really couldn't do everything all the time. And so we had to make a change earlier than expected. And I only actually truck drove for, probably 3 or 4 months. And then I was listening to Sean Hess's Saga episode. And I never met Sean, but Sean was a soldier you had after me, after Afghanistan. He joined you guys. I believe he was in the same squad with Radel and Drudge and all those guys. And so I listened to his episode, and I heard him talk about the transition from being a police officer from infantry to being a police officer, and how it just kind of made him a better police officer, being a veteran and having empathy for the people who really have, emotional needs. And I didn't really even think about it at the time. There wasn't a plan. I just listened to the episode. I loved it. Loved hearing about, all the things that happened after I left. And it was just like, old home week. I just kind of felt like reconnected with all you guys.
Yeah.
And then, the kids were, again, just having trouble with dad being gone. They weren't really listening to mom as much. They couldn't get into a routine because she didn't have the help she needed. So she was just, running ragged, trying to take care of everything. So she texted me and said, look, we need to talk. This isn't working. Let's come up with a plan. I don't know what you need to do. And I said, no problem. My health was kind of taking a turn for the worst. I wasn't able to eat healthy foods.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to exercise. I was in that truck for 18 hours a day and then getting 6 hours of sleep, so it was just, everything wasn't going well anyway. So I said, okay,
Hey, so
I'll come home this weekend. What's up?
Hey, Luke, what is that mentally like? Being by yourself, just driving with nothing but a radio, maybe, phone to, Bluetooth to talk to people. How is that mentally, man?
I'm pretty gregarious. I like to mesh with people. I'm a people person. I'm a social butterfly when I'm around people, and I love that. But the other side of most veterans is you do like the quiet. You like the time to think. You like your alone time. But when it's forced upon you all the time and it's not a choice, it does start to become really lonely. I had my dog with me, which is great, but I only did it for a couple of months, and it already, especially being a dad,
Yeah.
You're used to the noise, the kids, and just having that in your life. And then when you shut that out, it was mentally, I think it was a good time for me because I got to do some clarified thinking without any distractions. But at the same time, I kept worrying about my kids, how they were doing. Was I doing the wrong thing by them? They were so young, so it was a battle. And, and at the time, you and I spoke last time, I hadn't been going to the VA. I hadn't been getting the help that I needed, just to go out there and have some therapy and talk to people and stuff. So the mental stress was there. And when you eat like crap,
Yeah.
and you're just putting greasy food in your body and sitting for prolonged periods of time, it really, it was a welcomed text message more than she thought when she said, hey, let's try to think of something different. So, I came back and so we talked, and I said, look, I will find something local, whether it be truck driving or whatever, because I definitely don't want the kids or you to have, some negative parts of your life because I'm not there. So, so then I started looking, and for some reason, Sean's episode and his transition and the way he had passion and what he talked about being a law enforcement officer, and also seeing what's kind of going on out there. We need more and more people to step up at home and volunteer
Mm-hmm.
to do the job that nobody's really wanting to do right now.
With
And
experience.
true.
I think
And
that's
I
the
have,
I think that's the big thing. When I look at, don't get me wrong, bro. I've been in firefights where people are just dumping rounds, into ghosts.
yeah,
Um, but the thing is, if you've got the training, that typically doesn't happen. You don't dump your whole combat load into a Chevy, because they
right,
didn't stop at a light. You
right.
just have a different mental set to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
no, that's true.
I told Sean that, and I told you that too. It's like I'm glad you guys are out there. Just we need more people that are mindful of that. And the other thing is, like Sean was saying, I know you talked about this, was that Sean and some of his other veterans that are out there on the force with him, they reach out to veterans if they find out there's a veteran that's on a call. They shoot out there so that they can help
Exactly.
bring the situation down.
De-escalate. Yep.
Right, right. And that
Yep.
right there, man,
Well,
that just when Sean and I were talking before we did the episode, and he was mentioning that right there, and it got me. You know what I'm saying? To know that there's
well,
somebody out there looking for folks like us that are just maybe we just don't know for a moment.
well,
Maybe we just don't know. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
going. Yeah, no, that's going back to everything you've been saying. And I to go back, I do have the experience in the infantry in the army, but then when it comes to this front line, it's completely different. It's very complex, and now all the research that I'm doing and the training I had recently, it lets you know that there are more people in prison with mental disorders and problems than people would like to actually believe. The reason that they're there a lot of the time is not that they're just, all right, I'm going to be a bad person, or I want to do some bad things, or I don't care about the law. They have undiagnosed
Mm-hmm.
mental anguish and stress that nobody is
Addressed.
addressing, because we
Yeah.
don't have, in the 60s and 70s, when they shut down all of the mental institutions we had in the country, those people really just got repurposed and sent to jail. Like, those people got released, went to
Yeah.
society, messed up again, and then they put them in jail. So not only that, the mental issues and trials that veterans have, and people that aren't veterans out there, that's what really needs to happen for law enforcement,
Yeah.
from what I've learned so far. And that's just for every professional that came in and talked to us was like, yeah, they need more people that are empathizing with what's happening to people, because they don't function the way that's the norm, and that's what gets them in trouble. So
Right.
I listening to Sean, really, that's the first time I'd heard that. It opened my eyes to, wow, there are quite a bit of people like we know, like Dean, who went home,
Yeah.
and had a shootout with the SWAT team because he was about to get recalled. And,
Mm-hmm.
they came out, SWAT team showed up, one thing led to another. And then, our brother Dean got shot and killed.
Yeah.
So, those types of things are something I'm hoping I can bring some perspective to, but I'm a rookie, I'm going to be going to this new.
Yeah.
So, but I guess I kind of jumped ahead there. So after listening to Sean,
Right. Right.
after listening to Sean and kind of wrapping my head around that, I just by happenstance said, you know what, let me go talk to a local police department here in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to the ones that I saw in town that seemed to have more people out there, and I went into a couple of different departments and talked to them, and they said, hey, yeah, you can go this route or the other route. We don't hire you and then send you to a police academy. You need to go get your police academy done. And so I contacted the local college, Youngstown State University, and said, hey, I wanted to come by and talk to you guys about maybe doing the police academy. And they were like, oh, well, actually, we have one starting tomorrow. The deadline is in 10 minutes. Can you get here? And I was like, holy, I'm one of those people that believe fate a
Mm-hmm.
little too quickly, but I was like, okay, well, sounds right. So I went there, talked to him, signed everything. got my GI Bill to pay for it. It's like a $5,000 bill.
That's not
GI Bill
bad.
paid
That's not bad at all.
100% of it. No,
Yeah.
it's four months, 768, I think, credit hours. It's lengthy.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was such a seamless process. I went to the VA counselor there and said, "Look, this is what I'm doing." He said, "No problem." And the next day, I was in the police academy. And I mean, I called my wife, my ex-wife, and said, "Hey, I'm going to the police academy. I'll have a job, nearby for the next 4 months. I'll be in school, but that solves the problem of me being here with the kids." And so,
Hey,
that was
let's talk about the academy a little bit.
all right.
Now what is this? Is this like, classroom time, PT in the morning? What does a typical day, or like, the phases that you're going through? What is that looking like, for another veteran out there that's thinking about, following you there?
Sure. And it does vary. It's paramilitary for the most part, and most of the different departments you go to. I do know, because years ago I did go to Dallas Police Department and check into them, and see what there was like. And so if you go to a bigger town like Cleveland, Cleveland, Ohio, Dallas, Texas, or any bigger city, what they do is they put you through their entire process to hire you first. You take their physical assessment test. If you pass, you go to the panel interview stuff. You go to a background stuff. They check everything. You do a polygraph or a voice stress analysis test. All that. You disclose anything you've ever done, and then they ask you about it. As long as you're honest and it's nothing crazy and hasn't been recent, most of the time they're like, "Okay, we're going to go ahead and give you a bid to go through our police academy." Those police academies are much more strenuous. They're much more, you get up, you go to PT, and sometimes you even stay there at their barracks or whatever. But you get up, do PT, you do your training there. LAPD is another one that's supposed to be very hard.
Yeah.
But this one, the one I went through, which is the norm for, I'm throwing a percentage out there, but they said it was like 75, 80% of these police departments can't afford to pay for you to go through a police academy. They can barely get enough people to come through and hire. So they're having to spend money elsewhere. So what I had to do is go through the OPATA, Ohio Police Officers Training Academy. And you go through that first. And then when you're done, you get a certificate and you can go apply to a department. So for our situation, they try to make it to where it's as easy as possible to get people in there, through it, and then on to the next stage. So we had PT in the morning every day, but I, as the class commander that I volunteered to do, I was able to pick and choose what kind of we did every day for PT.
Yeah.
So we did PT 6 a.m., 6:30. We go run. Usually we did 2-mile run, 1 minute max push-ups, 1 minute max sit-ups, because that's the PT test you have. So we did that in the morning, come back, get ready for the day, put on your uniform, and then you sit in the classroom for 90% of the entire school. And it's learning laws and rules and regulations, and how, we do a lot of training on how to treat people. What's fair treatment? What does it mean if you negatively treat someone? If you go into a place and you just start bossing people around, over time, it delegitimizes police officers. So obviously don't do that stupid shit.
Yeah.
And they hammer it into us. I mean, we went through so many scenarios of this is what not to do to people. Treat them fairly. So they really are spending the time and effort to make sure that we train the right way.
Were you surprised?
Now,
Were you surprised by that? The focus that was put on that?
with today's, day and age of what's going on, I wasn't surprised by it, but I was really impressed by the compassion and the passion that these instructors had. They're chiefs of police around here. There's guys that have been in, 30, 40, 50 years, some of them in law enforcement. They've been to the FBI Academy. They know their stuff, and they're in there saying, "Look, what we did back in my day was not right. You're paying the price now because we didn't cut that shit out." And people didn't speak up and say, "Hey, I'm not the one doing that, but you shouldn't be doing that."
Right.
I.e. Rodney King.
Yeah.
And
That's a long
and
time
they
ago.
yeah, I mean, but we've watched it 4 times in this academy.
Yeah.
And it just opens your eyes to you're giving a sense of power, you're giving a badge and a gun, but your number one thing you should do is learn how to empathize with people and de-escalate things. That's what being a real, true keeper of the peace is. It's not using your force to force people to do something that, is what you believe, because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know if they've been beaten up by their spouse for the last 10 years and they just reacted. You don't know what happens.
Yeah.
So be empathetic, come in, obviously watch your six, don't be an idiot and give your life up. But at the same time, you can be empathetic and change people's lives by just listening a little bit more and not being in a rush to, force someone to do something. So I was impressed, and that meant a lot to me. It meant I was in the right place to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good to get that validation, man. Because I've been to places where I'm like, man, I don't think this is going to work out. These people think a little different than I do. But no, I'm glad to hear that, man. Definitely glad to hear that.
Yeah, and that's the thing where I believe that I'm in the right place, because I do empathize with people a lot more than most. But I also think that in our history, there's been a more often than not a case of police officers doing what they shouldn't because they didn't put themselves in the shoes of the other people that they're policing. They didn't think about, all the struggles and trials that they've been through. And coming from Alabama, where the poverty level is really low, I've been in that mix of people who just didn't have much, and they lived a little bit differently. So, I think with that, my military service, having kids, I'm hoping that I'll be a really, really well-rounded police officer so I can help, all walks of life. And that's just wishful thinking, but I'm hoping that's what it comes to.
No, man, you know what? I got faith. I got faith in you, man.
I appreciate it, brother.
They called me today. I messaged you and told you, I'm like, hey, one of the departments there called me and asked me about you. And I sat there 15 minutes and just kind of had a conversation. It was really good. So, yeah.
That's good. And they do extensive background checks. I mean, they don't just put anybody out there anymore, because it's such a, we're under the microscope now, even more so than they were before. And I'll tell you what, it scares me how under strength they are. Every department in this whole community I'm in are down like 10 plus the officers they need to run their department. Overtime's great. You get as much overtime as you want. There's just not enough qualified people who want to do the job.
Right.
It's getting to that age where people are like, I don't know if I want to join those ranks. I don't know if I want to be under scrutiny and be filmed every step of the way, because seriously, how many of us can do our jobs being filmed 24/7?
I can't. I blink too much. People get annoyed. Take the camera away.
I think that if you took any job I've ever done and put a camera on me, I would act a lot differently. Just one of those things. It's like, oh man, oof. So it's a dwindling number of people who want to sign up for that. Yeah. But it is what it is. Hopefully I don't fuck it up. Hopefully
man,
I do a good job.
When I retired, I reached out to a couple of, police departments and stuff. My thing was, it's like, I even told them, like, look, I'm kind of beat up. I don't know if I can do all the things you guys, that everyone does, but I got to tell you, I shoot pretty good. My tactics are pretty sharp. And for some reason I train people well.
Right.
Do you have any use for that? Yeah. After you go and walk, drive a beat for some years. And I'm like, I don't think I got that, man. I don't think I got that in me. Just physically, that was the thing. I didn't, I had a hard time, on deployment, trying to not be a liability to the guys, when I was, just in pain. So I could imagine doing it out there. Yeah.
I think the FBI does have a very good program for trying to get qualified people. So those people that are about to retire as first sergeants or whatnot, and they have all these years of knowledge, if you're really wanting to continue to give at home more so than abroad, look into that kind of stuff. Cause they pay people hefty salaries, those GS 9 and above jobs to come in and teach people tactics, who knows it better. So, but we had some amazing instructors that had been through Quantico. One guy was like 70 years old. He was our firearms instructor. I mean, just loved the guy. And he just was above and beyond, because the FBI spares no expense, on their training and how they get their guys to that next level. So,
Well,
that was
the amount of extra people that they bring in to help train them, that, that they pay large amounts of money for them to just come do it. That's good stuff.
Yeah, they bring the best of the world around. So
what'd you guys train on?
So we used Glock 19s, and we did train. We're the only Ohio-based police academy that trains on rifles. So we qualified rifle as well, which was just fun for me. I mean, that was, bring dusting off the old stuff there. But I mean, it was really intensive, but it was also that a lot of these guys, some of them had never ever touched a firearm.
Yeah.
So they couldn't get too far advanced with us, but they did split us up. All the veterans got to go in one group and shoot, and everybody else in the other, so that we could at least have fun and play around. So that was cool.
How many veterans do you have in your class?
We had 6.
Really?
One active duty guy that was Purple Heart. He was a combat engineer, and he did active duty. So he knew his stuff. He was a saw gunner. So we had some back and forth. And then we had a Marine that was active duty.
Nice.
You could just tell he knew his shit, and he did really well in everything we did. Real quiet guy, but you could tell he had the look to him. And then we had a couple of reservists. So, good little mix of Army, Marines, Air Force, but they always kind of put it on us, like, all right, you guys need to make sure this happens, and this is how this is going to happen. Which is great, because it goes out the window once you're a veteran, whatever branch you were in.
Yeah.
It's great that we just were like, cool, let's do this. I mean, of course we made fun of each other. That's just, that goes without saying. Right. But, they even had us, they were like, all right, you guys are going to teach drill and ceremony today. And they just broke us up into groups, and, because they're like, you're going to go to a funeral at some point. You guys need to learn how to fucking at least salute right. So, and we all just branched out, and, it was cool to see. But, I mean, and it, after I signed up, they asked us, like, do you guys want to be a class commander? If you want to, write a little short, 1 or 2 page, summary of why you would be good at it. So of course I felt the obligation. I felt, I was 37 when I started the academy, and the next oldest or youngest, I guess, he was 31. And then everybody else was 23 and younger. So, I mean, I was like, how could I not, I'm the only one with gray hair in here. So
you've always had gray hair.
I know, bro. I was 16 when I started getting gray hair.
That's funny.
So, so, I mean, I volunteered, and he said, you're going to be our class commander. And it's 4 months long. We just need you to make sure that you make sure shit gets handled. So I did, and signed up, and he told me afterwards that, and I had a counterpart, another class commander, which was a female. They like to have both. And, he told us, he was like, this is by far the best class commanders we've had in a very long time. Things went really well. There was no issues. You guys were on it. So we appreciate you, so it was good experience for me to see if I still had that leadership capability in that paramilitary training environment. And could I do it without tripping over my own dick too much? So it felt good, but, so it was 4 months long and no issues. So that's the first little, all right, notch on the belt. Like, all right, now let's go into to find a job. So I've applied, I've applied to 4 different departments around here. The sheriff's department has hired me conditionally as soon as I pass the actual final test, which is in 2 days from now.
Yeah.
Which is just a written test, or a multiple choice proctored exam, 200 questions. But then I put my feelers out there, because they say don't ever just rely on one job, because you've paid for the academy, you're buying your own uniforms, you're buying pretty much everything your own self, so you don't owe any department anything. That's the way it is set up. If they paid for you to go through the academy,
you know,
cool. Yeah, you owe them
contract,
something, but you don't. Right. So, hey, dream big, put all your applications out there. Well, I didn't freaking know I was going to get looked at like I'm a really good candidate by all these different departments. So I've got 4 people doing backgrounds on me right now. That's why you've gotten so many phone calls.
Yeah.
And they're all like, yeah, we were going to set up your interview, and okay, let's go ahead and do your voice stress test. And, it's it's going well, but I almost wish it was like, hey, you got this job, you didn't get the, so I didn't have to now pick, because now I feel like, oh shit, am I going to make the right
Oh, well,
decision for somewhere?
no, I
You
think
know?
you'll be good, man. I, I
Yeah,
think, I think having the choice would be better,
it is.
you know?
It's also like they each pay different salaries. They each have different pension plans. They each
Yeah.
have different schedules. Like the sheriff's office has 3 12-hour shifts in a week, and that's all you work. And so I've got school coming up. I have one more semester until I graduate. So it's like, oh wow, that schedule's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's working in a jail for the
Yeah.
first 6 months to a year. And then the other ones are like 5 days, 8 hour, 5 days, 8 hour shifts, which are more spread out. The pay is more, but I get to actually go out and be a police officer. So there's these varying things, and that's what anyone interested in that career field is going. They need to know that it really depends on all the different departments, and they usually only hire about once a year.
Yeah.
So you may have to wait. I just got lucky, and they're all hiring right now. So, but I'm just kind of waiting until they all come back, and then I'm going to make my final choice. But I do have a conditional offer to start as the sheriff's department, so that's cool.
Heck yeah. Hey, so your academy, that was at a college.
Yeah, yeah,
So you
and
got,
I mean,
so you
you're
got to
right
take
there.
those. Did you transfer and like
I
put those
did,
credit? Okay.
I did. It was at first, so I was looking at the criminal justice degree there, and they transferred all my stuff in, and they were like, "All right, you got to probably have another 3 semesters before you graduate." And I was like, "Oh man, I'm kind of bummed out, but okay, I'll go ahead and transfer." So, because I've been going to school for 20 years, pretty much
Right.
through online colleges when I was in, and then going to Jacksonville State and all this stuff, and doing art school and almost graduating there. So I was like, "All right, I'm just a mess. Let me just get these credits, and then later on, I'll finish it."
Right.
So then I got to talking to the commander of the academy, and I was like, "Hey, what do you think I should do about this? You think I should go ahead and finish it out, or start working first and then do it later?" He was like, "Well, you do know that you can just do a general education degree, and more your credits are going to come over." So he was just awesome with that. He told me how to do it. I switched majors, and now I have 1 semester before I graduate. So I only have this next semester. All the classes are online, and I'll graduate with my bachelor's in general ed with a criminal justice minor.
Hell yeah.
And so, I mean, I got this one more, and I swear it's, again, fate or not, I have 29 days left on my GI Bill.
29.
so, so they're going
I
to
was
pay
going to
for like
ask you if
a
you had
quarter.
some more.
Oh, it's crazy. Because I paid into my GI Bill knowing I was going to use it, which was a really, like, I don't even know what I was thinking at the time. I'm glad I did think about it, but I paid an extra $600 when we were in Afghanistan. So I've had GI Bill for days, and it runs out after the first month of this semester, and I'll be able to, you know, use most of that for the school. So it's really gonna maybe cost me a couple, like $2,000 to finish my degree.
Mm.
And that's something I've wanted to do for my kids for a long time, to at least tell them I started something that long ago, and look how, like, I didn't stop on it.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad it's going to finally come to fruition. So,
Well, it'd be nice, man. It's, take that minor years down the road and turn that into a major. You know what I mean?
sure. And that's,
And
I
that's
mean, look,
easy to do.
I'm 38. I am in good shape compared to the kids I was in the academy with. I was in better shape than probably all but 3 of them.
Yeah.
And so that's great. But at some point, Father Time comes a calling. I don't know if I can still be out there on them streets.
Right.
At least I know I can be a decent trainer of whatever there at the, the unit, or even so the academy that I just went through has offered me to come back and teach next semester for
Yeah.
their academy and do supplemental instruction to start there. And then down the road, if I get my master's, I can teach at the school, teach some criminal justice.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen, but you got to set yourself up for something at least, because I don't want to have happen what just happened with truck driving. What if I couldn't have? What if I couldn't have got in? And what if there were no local truck driving jobs? What would I have done? I would have went to Walmart, or I would have done whatever. But I got lucky.
Yeah.
And if we don't set ourselves up for something in the future, you never know what's going to happen. So I'm glad that that's all kind of be my backup plan. So, yep.
Well, you know what, Luke? I've thought just like you have, man. Like, looking at the years. I'm 46, man. At some point, I'm gonna want to impart more knowledge and settle down slow things down a little bit. And I would love to have a
Mm-hmm.
teaching job. You know, I'd love to go
Yep.
teach philosophy of mind or, something like that, to a bunch of, to a bunch of juniors and seniors in college.
You don't
That'd
want to
be,
be like what's his name, Tommy Lee Jones out there teaching them how to fucking stab people and
no, no.
tracking the woods.
High school guidance counselor. Yeah.
There you go.
Dude, believe me, bro, they've got my picture in the back of hiring for guidance counselor. Do not do that.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
would,
That's
it would be comical.
got a lot of shifts in what people are selecting as their job since you've been hired, buddy.
Right.
We gotta talk.
Yeah. Have to change the mascot right off the back. Rangers. It's all
Yeah.
good.
What do you mean they're coming to grow crops on your land? What the?
Right. Man.
Oh Jesus.
Hey,
But
through all of this, man, because it's all, hey, love you to death, brother, and I'm glad things are working out for you. But what is this doing, man? 4 months back home for the holidays with the kids. What's that doing? The turnaround. Tell us about the turnaround, man, with the kids.
you know what's been great? So when I was on the truck, all I could think about was, man, if I could just cook my meals and eat healthy, things would be a little better. Wanting to find that one thing to change. So I would go home for the 2 days off every 2 weeks and I would cook meals and buy sandwich meat and whatever I could to try to eat some sort of protein, fat, carb, good, decent diet. And so I was packaging all that up, put it on the truck, and that lasted for about 4 days, 5 days. So then I would have to go, try to go to a grocery store along the way or try to buy decent food. And it was just a never ending battle. So I started picking these things out, I think, that were in my mind negative, that, oh, if I just had this, if I could just do that, it would help this matter out. So I told myself as soon as I got approved at the police academy and I was going to make the change, I needed to do as many things as I could right then, because I got lucky. I felt like it could have went so many other ways badly, but it just so happened everything lined up. So pretty much I do what most people do that are, have any sort of structure previous in their life. As I said, don't fuck this up. You've got to find a way to make all this work for the best of your ability. So I started eating right then. I started doing, going back to like a paleo diet. I started spending every minute of free time that I had with my kids.
Yeah.
So school is intense. It was from 6 a.m. we had to be there and until 5 p.m. at night, every day, Monday through Friday, every other Saturday. So we had 1 to 2 days off a week. So every time when I would get home that I didn't have intense studying to do, I was over at my ex's house playing with the kids, helping with bed, bath, and, getting everything ready for them, and then tucking them in, staying there till they fell asleep, and then driving back to my place.
Yeah.
And so I started trying to do that thing where you try to get every ounce of yourself in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. And I just embraced it. So being the class commander, you have a little bit more responsibilities, being there earlier than everyone else, being there at 5:30, 5:45, making sure the room's ready to go for the day, making sure when you leave, everything's good to go, swinging over here, trying to hang out with the kids. Also, I started doing CrossFit again on top of our working out. So I really just went all in.
Yeah.
And I thrive in those situations. And so it felt everything was going really, really well. For that, the only negative thing that happened was I started getting some digestive issues, some things with with my stomach, and I've been to a couple of doctors. But other than that, everything has been kind of seamlessly getting better and better. So even now that I'm in limbo waiting to start with my job, I have the kids 50% or more of the time now. And it's really the most comfortable I've ever been with being a dad and doing the right things and not wanting to have new experiences outside of what I'm doing. I'm just really happy with what's going on. And that started after my first episode with you, being able to then go to the VA and start the therapy again and talk to them and just get those tools to manage myself better. And it's all really kind of melding well now. So things are going pretty damn awesome.
Dude, I'm glad to hear that, brother. I'm
Yeah,
glad
me
to
too.
hear it.
Me
Hey,
too.
I'll tell you what. Let's take a break, and then I want to talk about the health issues that you had,
Okay.
and let's just see if we can't talk about that. I'll tell you what. Let's listen to Just for Today with our good friend Richard Rowland. Here we go.
Just for today, let me live with this knowledge. At the end of my stay on earth, all I will have is the story I leave behind. Allow me to write each day with a sharp, eraserless pencil, knowing as the day's page is complete, nothing can be changed. The page will stand as written. Perhaps with this knowledge, I will better myself before the book's final page is written, instead of living and leaving with regret.
Yeah, I like those, man. Just for today.
Wow.
Very strong message from Richard today. Don't waste time. Yesterday's done, man. We've already written that thing, and we got tomorrow waiting for us. We got to get after it. Like you said, you got to take advantage. Take advantage. So,
Wow.
so Luke, you talked earlier, man, about some health issues, from driving the truck and things like that. How have you rebounded from that? Can you talk us through that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm an open book when it comes to this kind of stuff because um, it's one of those things that I think men are so scared to talk about or even get into. Um, I started having issues with every time I took a shit, I had blood in the toilet, like bright red blood.
Yeah.
Scared the hell out of me. So, it happened a time or two, and I looked it up online. And they're like, "Oh, it could be something small. You could have strained too hard. No big deal. Just kind of see if it gets worse. If it's not dark blood, it's not a big deal." So after a week, I was like, "All right, this is not going away."
Yeah.
So I scheduled an appointment to get a colonoscopy at 38.
Yeah.
And of course, all these fuckers in the academy had a field day with that because they already called me dad. So yeah. So as I had to ask them for a ride to get there, I went in, they did the test. They said, everything looks fine. We took some cultures just to make sure nothing looks cancerous. You have a little inflammation in your intestines. I'm not sure what it is, but we're going to give you some medicine and we'll see what happens. Of course, that's usually the first thing, but they're also, saying we're going to also send you to take some x-rays. So then a couple weeks later, I go in for x-rays where you don't eat anything for a whole day. And then they give you this stuff to drink. It's like a chalky white, medicine. And they take an x-ray every 30 minutes for 4 hours
Yeah.
to try to see where the digestive issues are happening. And I haven't talked to them yet because they send those off. And then my doctor finally is going to have a sit down and talk to me. But, it's scary.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where like nobody wants to go get a camera shoved up their ass. But I'll tell you what, you don't feel anything because you're completely out and there's no negative side effects. And they say that the age for, prostate and colon cancer is getting younger and younger. So I
Yeah.
was like, why not at least, know it? So just like mental health or anything people have going on, it really comes down to not having an ego about it and knowing that you can either become the guy that people have to take care of and you got to be maybe a vegetable one day and somebody's got to wipe your ass for you. And then what's your pride going to be there? And I thought I'd rather go in, find out what it is and at least be able to adjust and assess and see what's going on. So,
Damn you, Luke. Now I got to go in and
you do.
I do. I'm going to go. I'm going to do it, brother.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Dude,
you.
Well, I tell you what,
I appreciate you, man.
I'm glad. I've been pooping once a week for like years, and I didn't know that wasn't normal.
No, it's not normal.
I didn't know. I just thought as you got older, it moved slower. I mean, who fucking researches poop movements? Like, I'm like, all right, I'm lucky. I don't have to fucking worry about shit. You guys are like wasting money on toilet paper, I guess. So, I didn't know. So I started researching, going from there, and like finding things out about diet. And like right now, I'm kind of doing like an experiment with my diet. And even before talking to the doctors, I'm kind of setting, and I've done this before with previous diets, with the zone diet, paleo diet. I'm have found so much new information because now it's on my radar for my health that I'm now gonna, even go further. I watched a documentary called Game Changers. I've read a bunch of blogs, starting to read books on it, and so I'm now in the point where I'm trying to find out what works best for my body. And so I'm just doing another like 30-day an experiment with my body to see if things get better, if they stay the same, or if they get worse, and then adjust from there.
Hey, so talk to to the listeners that have not watched Game Changers. Just kind of give them kind of the synopsis of that.
Right. It's like any other documentary. I don't know where what their purpose is by sending that out. Who knows? You never know whose agenda is.
Yeah.
You're right. But from the basic synopsis of it is, when you eat meat, your body goes through this horrible process of trying to digest that. And all of the ramifications that you get from that are what's seen in people now who have no other reason to be unhealthy, but they have colon cancer, or they have, issues with digestion, or they're just not healthy overall. So I used to own a CrossFit gym, and within CrossFit, one of the things that we do is talk about nutrition. It's the basic building block for everything else we do. So we've always did the zone diet or paleo, which is eat proteins, fats, and carbs. Meats or proteins, you get it from eggs. If you're a hippie, you fucking eat tofu and a lot of vegetables. From your carbs, everybody eats vegetables and fruit for carbs, and your fats you get from avocados and nuts. So I have been telling people for years, like, look, if you don't eat protein, you're a fucking idiot. If you don't eat protein, you're doing a disservice. There's no building blocks that are going to be dense enough to get you where you want to go.
Right.
And I have seen that damn documentary on Netflix and been like, fucking hippies, I'm not watching this shit. Which is what most of us do with picking our battles and sides. I'm not above it. I'm like, I'm not fucking watching that. They're fucking stupid. What's their agenda? So I watched it because I needed some background noise. I was ironing my uniform or my suit for an interview I got coming up. And I'm like, all right, background noise. So I put that shit on there. And within 10 minutes, I'm fucking sitting on the couch, like all in it, like, holy shit. So it opened my eyes so much so that I'm like, all right, you can't trust anything that you see without knowing full-heartedly who's to gain, what's their purpose. Are they making money? Are they trying to, cut in on the, this different businesses' profits to make money for themselves? So right. I've done this before. I said, all right, I'm going to start doing some research on this. Just because a lot of the things that I'm having issues with, I have heard that a plant-based diet is good.
Solve it.
So, it's like, all right, you can't trust A or B, either side, because you don't know what their agenda is. The only way to seriously see if something's going to work is to use your body as an experiment, and you'll get unbiased information. So luckily, because of the health issues with my stomach, the VA had just done a full blood panel, EKG to test my heart 2 days before I saw the damn documentary. So I'm like, this is perfect. People would pay big money for this. So
people actually do pay money for that. They go get all that done and then come back and
right. So I'm setting up a controlled experiment, which means the variables are not great. It is one thing, and you see after a tested period of time if things get better, same, or worse. So for 30 days, I'm doing no meat. I'm doing, and I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid here. Like, I found a sausage that's plant-based at a local grocery store that tastes just like regular sausage. So I'm like, cool. I pretty much eat sausage burritos every day, which, they're all vegan or plant-based stuff.
Right.
And eating like all the oats and stuff, which I've always told people oats are not good for the paleo diet. And, so I'm doing smoothies and all this shit, and it's going well, but I'm going to do it for 30 days. I'm going to go ahead and schedule my blood work and EKG afterwards. And I'm going to see what got better, what stayed the same, what got worse. And that includes all the empirical data I have from the CrossFit. I know my 1 rep maxes for all my lifts. I
Yeah.
know how fast I can row a 2K.
Yeah.
I know how fast I can run a 2 miles, full effort. I know how many push-ups. I've got that empirical data just because CrossFit kind of breeds that, measures repeatable workout.
That was part of the documentary too, where they were talking about, people are like, oh, you're vegan, or you use, plant-based protein, but like some of the world record holders are just use plant-based protein in their regimen.
Right. And it sucks because one of the characters on there was like, well, I'm strong as an ox, but oxes don't eat meat. It's like, well, that's not a fucking fair comparative. But primates was one of the examples that really got me on one of the rabbit holes of looking at this stuff. So just looking at how all, predatory carnivores, their basic makeup, they have sharp claws for tearing, they have sharp canines that move in a way that can tear flesh. They have a small, shorter intestinal tract. So what they do, it's like all of us who have dogs have been like, man, this dog doesn't even chew things when I throw it at it. They just swallow it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how they eat, because they have such a short intestinal tract that meat's out of the system before it has a chance to rot.
Right.
So they get the nutrients they need and they poop it out and they keep moving. They got to eat again. They're always on the hunt. Well, us, humans.
They didn't eat meat that often either. I mean,
Right.
It was, I've watched, quite a few documentaries, and then, of course I did evolutionary biology, where they talked about, infanticide and stuff like that, where they would attack another female's, young baby.
You talking about apes?
Right. And they would eat,
Right.
They would eat meat then.
Right. Well, and that's their main sources of protein is they eat 40 pounds plus of plants a day, but they also, the lowland gorillas do eat termites and ants and things like that.
Yeah.
But they have the same fingers we have. They don't have claws for tearing apart hide. You go try to tear a cow's hide off without a tool.
Yeah.
We weren't born with those tools. We developed, and that's great. And you and I have even talked about it before, where our brains are so developed because of the amount of fat content we've gotten through the years through our meat content. Mm-hmm. But we also can't just go out there nilly-willy and tear down a freaking cow and eat him with our fingers, because we don't have the tools.
Yeah. Yeah. And even us, they talk about the paleo thing, and it's like, I get it. There's this roving bands of buffalo and antelope and everything else all over the place. Mm-hmm. But it took a lot of energy to run one down, to slaughter it. You had to have all these people. I mean, you got meat, but you didn't get meat that often, and you couldn't preserve it. You could salt it later on in life, through the years, but there was no refrigeration. You could smoke it and all that kind of stuff, but you had to do it quick.
What's the movie? Emil Hirsch. There's a book we always had to read in school, Into the Wild.
Yeah,
where he goes up to the Alaskan wilderness.
The maggots got him.
Traffic. And he went to go eat that. Was it a bear? He killed the bear, and then couldn't preserve the meat. It just rotted. So he killed something for no reason. And it's like, that would have been the real issue back in the day. They pretty much had to, before they were able to cure meat, they pretty much said, let's eat right here.
Yeah.
And of course, if there's no plants and it's winter, and hell yeah, if there's meat, they're going to eat something. I just don't know what's right. And it's fascinating to me that you and I have even talked since then, like, it's cool as shit to know that I'm getting a new wrinkle in my brain about putting myself in the position of being someone that lived on the plains back then. What would I have been able to eat? And I never even thought about how us and primates have soft fingernails. We don't have claws. We have those canines, but the bigger canines that gorillas have, those are to scare off, and if they need to, bite another male to fight over territory or a mate.
Well, they do they do a lot of shredding of leaves and
bark if they have to eat stuff like that.
Yeah, like deeper into sticks to like get stuff. So they use that for a lot of shredding too, not just defense. So yeah.
But it's fascinating to me because we're able to do that. We live in a country that I'm able to go, okay, I'm going to be picky on what I fucking eat today. I'm not out there living, this life of like, man, I don't have anything. I'm just going to eat what I can, and it's really cool to be able to say, okay, I've got some information. Thank you for that. I'm not going to buy into it. Let me get some more information online from other places that are reputable. Okay, cool. Let me watch some of the oppositions. Let me go back and watch these things that are about meat-based diets and look at, the Inuits and the fact that they've eaten fish with high fat content for years, and look at all these different people and like, okay, thanks, that's enough. I don't need any more. I'm going to actually just see what happens. So I'm going to do 30 days of this, see what happens, and then I'm going to make small adjustments, because that's what it really takes to make a controlled experiment work.
Well, it's got to be,
give it enough time.
It's got to be tailored to you. And here's the thing, Luke, that the other thing, man, is like, just like you said, like fish, I'm thinking like, I was going to go and eat, yesterday evening. I'm like, I'll go have some salmon. I'm like, I'm not doing anything, only vegetables. Mm-hmm. Only vegetable protein is the only thing I'm taking in. And, I started thinking, I'm like, well, if this brings my cholesterol down, I get rid of the brain fog, because you get older, you get a little brain fog and stuff like that. And, and every morning I have a bowel movement every morning after my cup of coffee. Right. Has that changed? All this kind of stuff, my sleep. If that's the case, then the stuff that works, I'm keeping it. And then later on, if I think I need to add fish to it, have it checked again. And if everything's still on the up and up, then that's it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we touched on this last time, like about how when you get out of the service, it's the same thing. If you go full crazy when you get out, you start drinking, stop doing PT, you start staying up late, you don't get up early enough, you don't go out there and make your mind work. If you go crazy and you change too many things in your life at one point,
off balance,
too quickly, you also, other than being completely all over the place, you don't know what's affecting that change the most. So how do you get back to you and what's going to work best for you? And it's like, I've even watched the documentary about being a minimalist. I could never do that, but I've started doing that with, my own place. I don't have crazy things everywhere just to entertain at all times. I have the basic things that I need. And then before I add something new to my life, I look at like, okay, how's it going to affect me, my kids, our connection together? Is this going to add or take away from us? Do I need that? And it really is it's a much clearer way to live life. But if you don't get to that ground zero, if you don't do those controlled experiments and then try one thing here, there, the other place, you don't know what's negatively affecting your life or what's a positive.
Right.
So it's kind of full circle with what we talked about last time. When you get out of the military, you can't just go crazy and change everything. You gotta wean into it and see, and really not bullshit yourself too.
Yeah.
Not lying to yourself going, oh, this is great for me. It's like, no, bro, they're drinking those 6 shots before you go out there, and that's not doing it for you.
Yeah. Well, I like the way, that you put it. It was, an objective view, so step back. Hey, is this affecting me? Am I getting a benefit from this, or is it something else?
Right. And don't be scared to venture out by yourself.
Yeah.
Don't always look for someone else to attach yourself to try different things that are, like say I wanted to do this experiment on myself, but I said, okay, I need a buddy to do it with me. Mm-hmm. Then you're attaching someone else. You got to have the courage to go, okay, I'm going to do this for myself. And that way I'm not, connected with someone else in their journey. I'm doing my own thing for me. And only then can you be truly objective to what's going on.
Right. No, I think there's a lot of veterans, man, that'll probably get on that will actually probably get a lot from Game Changers. They probably already have. And ones that'll go in there and be like, hey, I'm going to clean it up a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Sometimes that's all you need to do is kind of just clean your diet up a little bit.
Well, and
start back from the basics and start adding good stuff and stripping away some of the bad.
To be honest, the healthiest I've ever been to this point was when I got out of the military. I got up to like 260 pounds.
Whoa.
And then I found CrossFit through the years, mm-hmm. Started doing the zone diet or a paleo diet. And I was eating, 7 ounces or so of meat every meal, a shit ton of vegetables, and then avocado. And I was a freaking beast. So that may be, and I have that data because I have logged it on this website called Beyond the Whiteboard for years. Everything I ate, all my workouts and all that stuff. So I'll even know what difference that shows compared to this, but that was me at my level best. But I didn't have enough energy sometimes in some of my harder workouts. So that's the other thing I want to do. When I get my blood results and my EKG results back after a month, I'm going to give both of those to you to put on Facebook or wherever you want to, so that people can see the actual no bullshit measured stuff.
Let's get you on here and talk about it.
Okay, yeah, definitely will, and I'll do a meal plan and show you exactly, take pictures of what I eat, and then let everyone know, and then I'm gonna do a celebratory steak meal. I'm gonna go out, nothing crazy, but just eat a steak.
$80 steak.
Oh, yeah, on a policeman's,
right.
not even a policeman yet salary.
On an academy graduate's salary.
Yeah, a wannabe cop salary.
Oh, it's funny.
Which is negative money. You actually have to pay them for that. But I'm going to do it all, and then I'm hoping. This is really all I hope. I contacted a bunch of different friends after I watched that documentary, and I started, the gerbils started waking up in my head, greasing the wheel. And I was like, all right, let me send all the people who I truly care about their opinion with fitness and health, the same information. I sent it to you, my best friend, John, who got me into CrossFit years ago, my best friend, Jimmy, and like all my buddies, my ex-wife, like people that I actually really trust their opinions. And I said, look, I want it unbiased. I want you to watch this. Let me know what you think. And it's weird that you were like, I just started watching that, the other day. So
yeah, I hadn't finished it. Yeah.
If I could really get the most out of this, what I want is other people to take it in and then find the holes that they think and have an informed discussion about it, or try their own things and then, gain from their knowledge as well, because I don't know if this is right. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm playing the mad professor, and I'm using my body as an experiment, and you really can't trust anything else. So I'm hoping more people get their own take on it, and then we can have a good informed discussion, which is not only what's missing in nutrition in our society, but most comparative ideas. People can't just let's just talk about it, see what happens. And here's my input, that's your input. Cool. We agree to disagree or whatever. But if we really talk about something, maybe it can actually benefit all of us. So who knows?
I think that, the veteran community, we can benefit from cleaning up our diets. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Take a little break. I do, like we were talking, I do, intermittent fasting. It's not on a schedule. It's just, I just get to the point where I'm like, ever since Ranger School, dude, food has been like a hassle to me. I can't stand it.
Oh, yeah.
To be honest with you. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I had some roasted tofu the other day, yesterday, and it's the heat. It had a little garlic on it. It was roasted. It was amazing.
Really?
It was, and I was very shocked. Very shocked.
Yeah.
But,
I'm calling myself a hippie as I try this shit, and I'm like,
I am a hippie.
Yeah, I love this shit, dude. Some of this shit is amazing. I'm not just saying it.
Yeah.
But what you and I talked about was, if you go in and change your lifestyle on a cold turkey type thing, which is most of the type A military people we know.
Yeah, gung ho, get after it.
Oh shit, this gives me cancer. Fuck that. I don't want cancer. Fuck you, cancer.
I'm not using this. I'm not using the skeeter juice anymore.
Yeah. No, fuck that. Yeah. I'm not deeting up. Right. Says a guy with fucking mosquito bites all over his face.
But no cancer.
But yeah, so we're like, if there's a problem, fuck it, I'll solve it. I'm just gonna quit doing whatever it is. All right. Or fuck that, I'll challenge it to kill me. I'm just that kind of person. Well, if you decide you want to change your diet because you're having bad digestive problems, you're overweight, you got a dicky do, or your spouse is not one to hook up with you, and then when she does, you can't get it up, whatever the reason, if you're like, all right, I need to make a change.
Yeah.
I had so many people that I coached through the years, and I would give them dietary, advice, and I would tell them, if you eat a shit ton of, sugar in a day, and you just change that, the chemicals that your body produces after you consume something over and over again, it's going to make you one way or the other. If you switch that and you're just like, all right, no more sugar, your body's going to have a withdrawal, and you're going to be a dickhead. You're going to go through an emotional, weirder than you think change in your emotional, mental state that you're not even aware of. Same thing with alcohol. Same thing with eating really fatty foods that are saturated fats. Or if you, same thing with this fucking diet, man. I've been shitting like a goose because all the fiber
Yeah.
It is insane. Like, and I'm constantly just gassy as shit. And it's like, it's because my body's changing.
Yeah.
So everything you want to change in your life, all those goals, that's great, but you need to try to lean into it a little slower and make subtle changes, because those are proven to be the ones that last over time. But if you change too much too quickly, it's not going to last. You're just going to be like, okay, great. I can see my dick again. Cool. And then you're going to go back to whatever you were doing before. You know what I mean?
I got you. Yeah.
So you got to make those small changes, and then and same thing we're talking about, one change at a time, because that variable will let you know better, same, or worse after a marked period of time. Okay, that worked. Let me try to reintroduce something else in its place, or let me try to take another bad thing away, or let me try to eat a little bit more vegetables. So if I could challenge anybody at the beginning, is just try to eat some more vegetables. Like, I tell you, man, like, some of the shit's not that bad, but if you need to lie about it, if you put a bunch of fruit in a blender and put some raw spinach in there, you can't taste the damn spinach. At least you're getting the best, most nutrient dense, vegetable you can get, which is a leafy green vegetable.
Yeah. That
will help you with a lot of problems that people have. Just that one thing, just add that and see if it helps.
Well, you know what, Luke, I'm looking forward to this episode, man, talking about your results and how you felt, through this 30-day process. Cause that's a big thing too, is like, from day to day, are you feeling the difference? Are you feeling it? Not just the results are good, because that's like, stuff you can't see that's wrecking your body.
Right.
Yeah. I'm curious to see those numbers, but also, your own take. So make sure you write that stuff down so we can, you can share that.
Yeah, absolutely. The power output, how I feel in the mornings, how I feel towards the end of the day, all those things are going to be something I include with it, because I want it to be an unbiased opinion. So it's not some bullshit people are fed. It's like, hey, this worked for a couple of days and then shit went off the rails. Don't do it. I want to have some good information. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what happens.
All right. So, hey, as we close the episode out, man, I've got a question for you. I'm going to start asking a question to each veteran co-host when they come on. My question for you is, what's your favorite movie and why?
Oof, man. Let me think. Cause there's going through film school, man. I definitely, I got to say Deer Hunter, man.
Why?
Because it touches on so much. And I guess I watched it at the time that I should have. I watched it after Afghanistan. I got back home. I was in college. I was the strange guy in the back of the classroom that didn't fucking know what was going on. And I talked to my grandpa about war a little bit, but he wasn't giving up anything about the Korean War. I just, that movie is so real to life. It reminds me of like where Perchek would have grown up, Pennsylvania, little town. And then these guys go out and they fucking go through hell. And then, just trying to come back and live that life. I think it was so well made that it made me feel like it was my life in a way. And that touched more emotionally than any other movie I'd ever seen at the time. I
like that, man. I'm gonna have to watch Deer Hunter again. It's been been a couple of years since I've seen it.
Same here.
Well, hey, brother, I appreciate you coming on, man. And I look forward to another discussion talking about how your health is going.
Yeah, man, it's always a pleasure, Chris, man. Love you, brother.
Well, hey, good luck with the jobs, man. And I'll keep answering the phone when they call me and singing your praises, brother.
Yes, sir. And that's another thing, veterans. Don't forget the network you used to have. Still works.
That's right. All right, man. Hey, you got anything else for everybody?
Not much, man. Just do a buddy check. The holidays just happened. It's that depression time of the year. The winter months bring a lot of unwanted thoughts for veterans. If you got somebody you're thinking of, or do like me and my buddy Ramirez does, he sends a text out to every one of us that he served with and just says, hey, buddy check. Everybody all right? Who needs something? And, reach out there, make sure they're all doing okay. Make sure they rebounded after the holidays and love each other.
Yep, there it is, folks. Hey, Luke, thanks for coming on, man.
All right, brother. Thank you.
I'll talk to you after a while.
Sounds good, bud.
All right.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. Once again, Luke Davis, all you got to do is go listen to Saga episode 24. It came out in August. It's a great episode, folks. It's number 3 out of the 64 that we've done. Go back and listen to that episode. Listen to this one. And I'm telling you, don't be afraid of the changes that you have to make in your life in order for you to take advantage of this life that we have and live the best you can. Okay. If you need some help, reach out. Plenty of folks out there that would love to help you, myself included. Luke can help you out. Reach out to Luke. Sean Hess can help you out. Anyone that's been on the show can help you out. Any veteran living next door to you, ask for help. But hey, stay blessed out there and keep rocking and rolling. And we'll catch you next time. All right. Peace. Copyright Heart of a Volunteer 2020.